Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Margie, and today I'm going to make chocolate dipped strawberries. There's dark chocolate and there's milk chocolate, and there's also, what I did was I showed you how to make the little tuxedos. So I'll be back in a moment and we'll get started. The first thing we do is we're going to rinse off our strawberries. I'm going to first gently put them into a colander, and then I'm going to spray them with some cool water. Not too hard, just kind of rinse them off. It's a nice one that has a little stem. Not necessary, but it is necessary to have ones that have pretty little green things on them. Alright, so the next thing I do is I'm going to take a cookie tray and I'm going to place them on the cookie tray to dry. And these are some pretty nice little strawberries. Right, now while I dip them also, I usually put a paper towel in my hand and sort of just kind of roll the strawberry around on the paper towel to get any excess water off. Because you really don't want any water in your chocolate. Okay, so those will take a few minutes to dry. And then we'll come back and show you how I melt the chocolate and we'll dip them. So this is our chocolate, and I've already chopped some. I always have some chopped chocolate around, but it should kind of look, you know, nice and chopped. Use your fine pieces. That's what I would show you. I just take a nice big, this is a Frenching knife, and I have a board. I always use this board for my chocolate. And I cut chocolate in sort of longer strips. I have 10-pound bars. This is dark chocolate, so I'm going to show you some dark chocolate because this is my milk chocolate, so we can do some strawberries with dark and with light. So I'm going to shave and use this just like you would a Frenching knife and make very, very small cuts. Alright, and then I'll move this, and I can even give this a turn and chop like that. And that's really all there is to it. Move it aside. I'll give that a turn. It's always easier to chop on the shorter side. A little something I've discovered. Give it a turn. Be careful not to cut your fingers. They say you don't want it too fine. I've never really noticed it can be too fine. I've heard that, so I try to be careful and not make it too fine. Don't know why that is. Maybe it affects the crystals in the chocolate somehow for tempering. Okay, so that's it. What I have to start with here is, here's a candy. It's a thermometer, really. It only goes up to, I don't know, what is this? It's really for chocolate, because you don't want this chocolate to go up over, well, this actually goes up to 220, so it's not a candy thermometer. I don't want this chocolate to go above 90 degrees, so I'm going to watch it very carefully with it. So it's very important for everybody who always asks me about a thermometer. It's a very good idea to have the thermometers that you need to make the candy, because it just really helps you to have more control over what you're doing and have an end result that's going to be better. I'm always answering questions about that on the YouTube channel. So it's good to have a thermometer or a candy thermometer, whatever you need. Okay, so now here's our chocolate, and it's fine, and we're going to melt this very slowly in the microwave. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit more chocolate to it as it's melting, so I can keep the temperature down, and it helps it to temper. So I'm going to put this in the microwave for about 45 seconds. I'm going to melt this so slowly you would think that it's never going to melt, but it will. So you have to just keep putting it in for 30 seconds or 45 seconds and just keep stirring it down to keep the temperature even. Now I've melted this for about 30 seconds. It doesn't look at all melted, but all of a sudden you'll see that it will start to to melt down. Right now it's getting very warm, and I stir it to keep it the temperature consistent. And this bowl is it's a Pyrex bowl, but it has a tendency to get warm too. And theoretically, if you can feel your chocolate, it's too warm. If you can feel the heat of your chocolate if you touch it, so be careful. Now this was another about 20 seconds, and you see how it's starting to get a little bit melted? All of a sudden it's going to melt out on you. Now the other thing you also want to do is make sure you have a place in your refrigerator that will hold your sheet, because as soon as you dip them, you want to refrigerate them right away, so to bring the temperature down on that chocolate quickly. That will help to keep it from blooming, and you'll have shinier chocolate that snaps. Now this is another 15 seconds, and you see it's all turning into a blob of chocolate. And I'm going to try to keep the chocolate all together and not up the sides of the container, because you really just want to keep this temperature the same all the way through. Now this last 15 seconds I put it in for actually warmed up the chocolate a little bit too much, so I'm going to add just a little bit of chocolate pieces to it, just to bring the temperature down a little bit, and those will melt out. You want to make sure that's pretty fine, so this will cool down the chocolate. And we'll let that sit for a moment. If you use a plastic container, the temperature, the plastic won't hold the heat like the glass does, and so you won't have the problem with the chocolate getting hot from the glass. I try not to use plastic in my microwave. One of the ladies that works with me, she's got me trained not to do that. I have so many glass jars and bowls now that it's actually really very nice. So we're going to get started in a moment. Now I just checked the temperature with my thermometer, and it isn't anywhere near 90. It's probably about 87, 86, 87, and that's wonderful. You want to keep that temperature down. That way the chocolate doesn't bloom. And it's not that difficult to do if you just have a thermometer and you use it. I don't know how else to tell you to do it. So what I do is I just take a strawberry and I blot it for a moment, and I hold it by the little green stems, and I just kind of give it a little roll, and I gently take it out. And you can give it a scrape if you like, and just lay it down on your tray. I always hold this here because I just gently give it a tap, make sure all that is off. Alright. Well, these are so pretty. Okay. Now I'm going to make a couple more like this. And then I'm going to melt the dark chocolate, because my sister loves the dark ones, and it's Mother's Day today, so I'm going to bring her some. Even to me, she's like a mother, so she definitely deserves something special today. Now this is my dark chocolate, and as you see, I'm using the same bowl, but just make sure that you clean off those edges, because you don't want that chocolate that's already melted on there to get too hot. Okay? That helps. You want to keep the temperature even. Now I'm going to go ahead and melt this one. I find sometimes that the dark chocolate melts a little nicer. Now I put that chocolate, this is a dark chocolate, I put it in the microwave for about 45 seconds, and the bowl, maybe from being in the microwave before, has gotten very warm. So you see it's not quite melted, but I'm not going to put it back in the microwave, because I think the heat from the bowl is just going to make this chocolate perfect. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to dip. You take a nice big strawberry and you want to make a tuxedo. So what you really want to do is you have some white chocolate, okay, and you're going to just dip that down, give it a shake, okay. I didn't really dip the back, you could do that as well. Going to get a little double dipping. Okay, so I'm just going to make a couple of those. We'll use our nice big strawberries for that. Okay, just dip it down in there. And gently, if you shake it when it comes out, if you have any little air bubbles in the chocolate, okay, that will take care of that. And later on we'll use that to decorate. But let me do the rest of them with the dark chocolate that I tempered. Okay. So we're just going to dip that down in there. Give it a little wipe on the paper towel to get any liquid off. There's a nice big strawberry. Look, be gentle with this one. I feel the green. You don't have to scrape it. Just get a little more chocolate that way. Okay. Just have some fun with it. Almost as much fun as eating them. So what I'm going to do is put these in the fridge. Now I've taken the white strawberries out of the refrigerator because I want to show you how I'm going to make the tuxedo. So you take your melted chocolate. Now this is dark because that's really what you want to make the tuxedos with. Scrape it down into the area. Okay, and then you just want to dip. You want to dip them at an angle. Okay. Alright, so there's your one tuxedo. Take the other one at an angle. See, that's the white part in the center is the shirt. The rest of it is a tuxedo. And you take a parchment bag. You take a plastic bag. Wilton makes wine. Actually have a YouTube on how to make a parchment bag, but you can also use the Wilton plastic bags. They're wonderful. You're going to have to make a little dot out of the dark chocolate. And it got a little teeny top. And you always want to get rid of this little thing because you don't want to get it into the chocolate. So now what you want to do is you want to bring it up a little bit higher, and so it's right in front of you. And just try to touch it and make little teeny buttons. Just pull straight up. That way the chocolate won't fall down. You know, make little round buttons. Oh. There we go. So you make little round buttons, and there's your tuxedo. So now we're ready to do a little decorating. So I'm going to, this is white chocolate discs that I just melted down a little bit just for decoration. I just take a fork and I'm just going to throw a little bit, just give it a little bit of a contrast. I just think that always looks so pretty. You don't need much. Honestly, that's it. And then I have a little bit of, I think I'll put the dark chocolate a little bit down on the milk chocolate just for a little bit of contrast. Just a teeny bit. Now you can put a whole lot on if you want. It's up to you. Some of the nice things about candy. If you got it, I guess flaunt it, right? So, there you go. And I'm going to stick that back in the refrigerator also because of the tempering, and I want to get the temperature down quickly so it doesn't bloom and get little white areas on it from the oil separating out. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy your strawberries, and happy Mother's Day.